The unemployment rate was at a low of roughly 3.5%, and the biggest economic stories in the world at the time were some flight cancellations to China and a mild slowdown in the manufacturing sector. However, as we all know, things changed fairly quickly. Millions of people have lost their jobs, and we have witnessed the fastest spike in unemployment in history. Nevertheless, some things have been going on during this time that many people might find a little bit shady, to put it mildly. This is the very strange unemployment crisis of this year. Come along today as we explore some of the realities underlying the unemployment issue. Whether or not an economy is developing at a reasonable rate is usually directly connected with the number of people working. The International Labor Office declared that global unemployment had hit an all-time high during the height of the global recession that started in 2008. In 2009, almost 200 million people, or 7% of the world's workforce, were jobless. It is no accident that the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression coincided with the world economy's worst jobless rate ever recorded. Economic activity has a significant impact on unemployment. In fact, growth and unemployment are like two sides of the same coin. When economic activity is strong, more output occurs overall, requiring a greater number of workers to create the increased volume of goods and services. Moreover, businesses cut staff during periods of low economic activity, which causes unemployment to rise. As a result, unemployment is counter-cyclical, rising when economic development is slow and falling when it is not. However, a rise in growth does not always translate into a decrease in unemployment. It is more typical for companies to attempt to rebound from a downturn by increasing productivity or having the same number of employees produce more goods or work harder. Businesses are unlikely to hire more people until the recovery gains traction. Because of this, unemployment might not start to decline until much later in the event of an economic rebound. When a downturn is about to begin, the pattern reverses itself and companies prefer to cut back on work hours or make pay reductions before terminating employees. Only when the recession lasts longer does unemployment begin to rise. Unemployment is viewed as a lagging indicator of economic activity since it follows expansion more slowly than growth itself. To what extent does the unemployment rate respond to economic expansion? That relies on a number of things, and chief among them is the state of the job market and applicable laws. Based on the theory that a 1 percentage point decrease in unemployment equals a 3% increase in output, Okun's law, named for the late American economist Arthur Okun, provides an estimate of the strength of this link for the U.S. economy. According to more recent projections, the resulting increase in output might be as little as 2 to 3%. Would it be reasonable to anticipate complete elimination of unemployment if economies continue to grow? Actually, this is not the case. Worldwide unemployment decreased but never reached zero in the 2000s, a period when the world economy was thriving, at least until the crisis. The question of why unemployment can never reach zero arises from this discovery. Policymakers can better understand how to adjust the long-term equilibrium rate of unemployment by knowing the factors that contribute to it. Policies that are aimed at reducing unemployment through increased consumer demand, for instance, will only have a short-term effect and will ultimately result in higher inflation. Policies aimed at reducing structural or frictional unemployment, however, might increase employment without always having an impact on inflation. However, structural factors like demographic shifts and technological advancements can have long-lasting effects on unemployment trends, meaning that the NAIRU can potentially fluctuate over time without any explicit policy action. Many economists, for instance, concurred that the 1990s technological boom raised labor productivity, making each employee more desirable to employers and lowering the NAIRU, even though there was an initial spike in unemployment as workers who were not educated in the new technologies were replaced. As is the case in many developed economies today, a fast-aging population also contributes to lower unemployment and fewer people in the labor market. Worthy of note is that not everyone who is unemployed also doesn't work. For the purpose of government statistics, an individual must not only be unemployed but also actively seeking employment, that is through applying for jobs or sending out resumes. Every month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics conducts a household survey in the United States that includes a representative sample of over 100,000 people. This poll is used to measure unemployment in the country. Both individuals who are employed and those who are looking for work make up the labor force. The percentage of the labor force that is looking for work is known as the unemployment rate. the population as a whole does not include the labor force. The labor force participation rate is the proportion of the working age population to the labor force. People of working age who are neither employed nor seeking for employment, such as homemakers and students, are not included in the labor force. However, the labor force also excludes unemployed individuals who have been looking for work for an extended period of time but gave up after experiencing little success. One reason why unemployment numbers may understate the actual desire for jobs in an economy is because of these disheartened workers counting as employed. Everyone who worked for money or profit, if self-employed in the week before the government survey, is another way the statistics conceal hidden unemployment. This masks the need for employment that exists among those who would prefer a full-time job but are unable to get it. A few important points to remember are the percentage of unemployed people in the labor force known as the unemployment rate. Additionally, families' disposable income is negatively impacted by unemployment, which also weakens their purchasing power, lowers staff morale, and lowers the productivity of an economy. It's also important to remember that the Current Population Survey, CPS, uses a range of methods to assess the level of unemployment in the United States, from the strictest U1 measure to the most inclusive U6 indicator of labor underutilization. And then, the U3 measure, which classifies the jobless as those without a job, those who have actively sought employment during the previous 4 weeks, and those who are eligible for work, is now the official method used to calculate unemployment in the United States. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, states that when workers are unemployed, their families lose wages and the country as a whole loses its contribution to the economy in terms of the goods or services that could have been produced. This is why the unemployment rate is so important. One of the first things that businesses do when they are seeking to save money is to downsize their personnel. It is unlikely that employees who are forced to work longer hours after a corporation fires some of its employees will be compensated more for their extra work. Even for people who are employed, unemployment can have a detrimental impact on their mental health. Because they falsely believe that they are lucky to have a job at all, they may start to worry more about losing their positions or become reluctant to look for new employment. When they see their coworkers without jobs, they could even feel bad about being employed. More generally, the American economy suffers from high unemployment. Spending by consumers makes up over 70% of the GDP. Because they have less discretionary cash, unemployed people spend significantly less than those who have a consistent salary. Policymakers research several facets of unemployment to comprehend the reasons behind high unemployment rates and potential solutions. Policymakers are periodically provided with statistics about the number of jobless individuals, the duration of their unemployment, their skill levels, the trend in unemployment, and regional differences in unemployment. This allows policymakers to analyze the data and hopefully make more informed decisions about managing the economy and combating unemployment. A common misperception regarding the unemployment rate is that it is determined by counting the number of persons who apply for benefits from unemployment insurance, UI. However, the quantity of UI claims does not give a reliable indication of how widespread unemployment is. This is due to the possibility that some recipients of UI benefits may remain unemployed after their benefits expire, while other applicants may not qualify for assistance or may not have applied at all. Monitoring every jobless individual on a monthly basis would be highly costly, time-consuming, and unfeasible. In order to gauge the level of unemployment in the country, the U.S. government does a sample survey known as the Current Population Survey, CPS. Please share your thoughts on the unemployment problem in the comments section below. For more updates, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.